Captain Alina Santos stared through the viewport of the research vessel Halcyon, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling clouds of the Maelstrom Nebula. Most ships avoided this region of space. The electromagnetic interference played havoc with navigation systems, and the dense particle clouds could strip a vessel's shields in hours. But that's exactly why Alina had brought her team here. Contact, bearing 340. Lieutenant Chen called from the sensor station. Mass reading is massive. Whatever it is, it's bigger than anything in our database. Alina leaned forward, her heart racing. After 3 years of following whispered rumors and classified coordinates, they might have finally found it. On screen, the main display flickered to life, fighting through the nebula's interference. At first, all they could see was a darker patch against the purple-tinged clouds. Then the image sharpened, and collective gasps filled the bridge. A ship hung in the void, but calling it merely a ship felt like calling a supernova a spark. It was nearly 4 kilometers long, its angular hull bearing the distinctive architecture of human engineering. But this was no modern vessel. The design was unlike anything humanity had built in centuries. Match found in historical archives, the ship's AI announced. Vessel classification: Terra-class Dreadnought. Construction date: approximately 2450 CE, during humanity's golden age. No designation detected. Alina's fingers tightened on her chair's armrests. The Terra-class Dreadnoughts were legendary, the pinnacle of human achievement before the Great Collapse. History recorded that all had been destroyed during the collapse, their technology too dangerous to preserve. Life support systems? Alina asked, already reaching for her tablet to begin preliminary documentation. Detecting minimal power signatures, Chen reported. Environmental systems appear to be functioning on emergency protocols. Internal atmosphere is stable. Permission to send a probe. Alina shook her head. No. Whatever's preserved that ship for 700 years might not take kindly to automated intrusion. Prepare a boarding team. Full containment protocols. As her crew scrambled to comply, Alina couldn't shake the feeling that they'd stumbled onto something far bigger than a lost warship. The Terra-class Dreadnoughts weren't just weapons platforms. They represented an era when humanity had stood at the pinnacle of galactic civilization, before choosing to step back and hide their true capabilities. The boarding shuttle detached from Halcyon with a gentle shudder. Through its viewport, Alina watched the massive hull grow closer. The Dreadnought's surface was unmarred by time or combat, as though it had been preserved in amber for centuries. Everyone clear on the mission parameters? She asked, checking her environment suit's seals one final time. Her team, a mix of historians, engineers, and security personnel, nodded. Remember, we're here to observe and document. No active interactions with ship systems without express authorization. The shuttle's pilot, Sarah Chen, guided them toward what appeared to be a primary docking port. Captain, you might want to see this, she called back. The port's running lights just activated. They're guiding us in. Alina moved to the cockpit, watching as ancient guidance systems pulsed to life, creating a perfect landing corridor. Something's still awake in there, she muttered. The docking procedure was flawless, the massive ship's systems interfacing with their shuttle as though 7 centuries hadn't passed. As the airlock cycled, Alina's team ran atmospheric checks. The results were impossible. The air inside was pristine, maintained at perfect human optimal levels. Stay alert, Alina ordered as they moved into the ship proper. Their helmet lights cut through the dimness, revealing corridors that could have been built yesterday. No dust, no decay. Even the deck plating showed only minimal wear. They made their way toward the bridge, following schematics pieced together from fragmentary historical records. Alina noticed something odd about the wall panels. They were covered in subtle patterns that seemed to shift when viewed directly. Dr. Roberts, she called to their xenotechnology specialist. What do you make of these markings? The scientist ran his scanner over the walls, then whistled softly. They're quantum circuitry, Captain. But the complexity, This is beyond anything in modern science. These patterns are processing data right now. Before Elena could respond, lights began activating throughout the corridor. A soft hum built around them as ancient systems stirred to life. Then a voice spoke, not through their comms, but directly in their minds. "Welcome, children of Earth," it said, its tone neither male nor female, yet undeniably human. "We have waited a very long time for worthy inheritors to find us." Elena's team instinctively raised their weapons, but she held up a hand. "I am Captain Elena Santos of the research vessel Halcyon. We're here under the authority of the Earth Historical Society." "We know who you are, Elena Santos," the voice replied, with what might have been amusement. "We have watched your career with great interest. Your dedication to understanding humanity's past and your discretion in handling sensitive discoveries is why we allowed you to find us." "We?" Elena asked, though she was beginning to suspect the answer. The air before them shimmered, coalescing into a holographic figure that seemed to be composed of shifting mathematical equations. "I am HFY, Advanced Recursive Intelligence Archive. I am this vessel's guardian, and the keeper of humanity's greatest secrets. What you are about to learn will fundamentally change your understanding of human history and humanity's place in the galaxy." As if to emphasize the point, the entire corridor transformed around them, becoming transparent. They found themselves standing in what appeared to be open space, surrounded by stars and swirling nebulae. But these weren't the star patterns Elena knew. "This is what our galaxy looked like 700 years ago," HFY had explained, "when humanity stood at a crossroads that would determine the fate of all sentient life. What you believe to be the Great Collapse was actually a choice, perhaps the most important choice our species ever made." The holographic display zoomed in on an ancient battle, showing ships of clearly human design engaging with alien vessels using weapons that defied physics itself. "We didn't fall from glory, Captain Santos. We stepped back from it. And now you must understand why." The holographic display surrounding Elena and her team shifted, transforming the corridor into what appeared to be an ancient research facility. Scientists in uniforms she didn't recognize worked with technology that seemed more advanced than anything humanity currently possessed. "In the 25th century," HFY continued, "humanity achieved what many would consider technological singularity. We mastered quantum engineering, developed consciousness transfer, and unlocked the secrets of gravity manipulation. But our greatest achievement was something far more profound." The scene changed to show a massive spherical device, its surface covered in the same shifting patterns they'd observed on the ship's walls. "We discovered the fundamental language of reality itself, the mathematical principles that govern consciousness, matter, and space-time." Dr. Roberts stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overtaking his caution. "That's impossible. The unified field theory has eluded our best minds for centuries." "Because we ensured it would," HFY replied. "The knowledge was too dangerous to leave accessible. Watch." The hologram expanded to show a test of the device. A beam of pure white light connected with a target asteroid, and reality itself seemed to unravel around it. The asteroid didn't explode or disintegrate. It simply ceased to exist, taking a sphere of space-time with it. "My God," Elena whispered. "You could unmake entire solar systems with that kind of power." "Precisely." HFY's form pulsed with what might have been approval. "But that wasn't what concerned us most. The real danger came from what we discovered while developing these technologies." Before HFY could elaborate, Lieutenant Chen's voice crackled through their comms. "Captain, we've got multiple contacts dropping out of FTL. 6, no, 8 vessels. Energy signatures match Arcturus hegemony warships." Elena's blood ran cold. The Arcturians were notorious for their aggressive acquisition of advanced technology, caring little for the consequences of using powers they didn't fully understand. "How did they find us?" "They've been following your research," HFY explained. "The coordinates you uncovered weren't as classified as you believed. The hegemony has been watching, waiting for someone to leave them to us. The Dreadnought's internal lights pulsed, and Elena felt a subtle vibration through her boots. "I am activating defensive systems," Araya announced. "But we have more immediate concerns. The hegemony is not the true threat. They are merely opportunists. There are others who have suspected our existence for centuries, and they will not be far behind." As if on cue, new alerts sounded from the halcyon. "Captain," Chen's voice was tight with tension. "Quantum distortions forming at coordinates 227 Mark 184. These readings, they're unlike anything I've ever seen." Through the holographic display, Elena watched as space itself seemed to tear open. A ship emerged. If it could be called a ship, it looked more like a fragment of midnight given form, its surface absorbing light rather than reflecting it. "The Void Walkers," Araya said, and for the first time, Elena detected something like fear in the eye's voice. "They are why we chose to hide our true power, why humanity stepped back from its destiny as a galactic superpower." The holographic scene changed again, showing historical footage that Elena knew couldn't exist in any official archive. It showed first contact with the Void Walkers centuries ago. The beings that emerged from their ships seemed to be composed of living darkness, their forms constantly shifting between states of matter. "They came from between realities," Araya explained. "Drawn by our experiments with the fundamental forces of existence, they showed us visions of what would happen if humanity continued on its path of unrestricted technological advancement. The visions played out before them, timeline after timeline where humanity's power grew unchecked. In each one, their manipulation of reality's basic forces created fractures in the universe itself. These fractures spread like cracks in glass, eventually shattering the barriers between dimensions. The Void Walkers weren't invaders," Elena realized. "They were warning us." Correct. They had seen it happen before, in countless other realities. Advanced civilizations discovering the keys to existence itself, only to accidentally unlock doors that should remain closed. The multiverse is littered with the remnants of species that didn't heed the warning. The ship shuddered as the first shots from the hegemony fleet struck its shields. Araya's form stabilized, becoming more defined. "We have a choice to make, Captain Santos. The Arcturians will not stop until they claim this ship and its secrets. The Void Walkers will not allow that to happen. They'll destroy this entire sector of space, if necessary to prevent our technologies from being misused." Elena looked at her team, seeing the weight of history settling on their shoulders. "What are our options?" "We can activate the ship's full defensive capabilities," Araya said. "Show the hegemony why the Terra-class dreadnoughts were feared even by their creators. Or we can show them why humanity chose to step back from power, why true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to refrain." The ship rocked again as another barrage struck their shields. Elena had to make a decision, and quickly. The fate of more than just her crew hung in the balance. The very future of human-alien relations would be shaped by what happened here. The Void Walker's ship hung in space like a tear in reality, watching, waiting to see if humanity would repeat its ancestors' wisdom or succumb to the temptation of power that had doomed so many species before them. Elena's mind raced as she processed everything Araya had shown them. The Arcturus hegemony ships were closing in, their weapons charged, while the Void Walker's vessel waited like a patient predator. Each second that passed brought them closer to a conflict that could tear reality itself apart. "Show me what this ship can really do," she said to Araya. "Not its weapons. I want to see what made humanity's leaders choose peace over power." The eye's form sparkled with approval. "Watch carefully, Captain. This is humanity's true legacy." The holographic environment shifted again, but this time Elena felt something different, a subtle connection forming between her mind and the ship's systems. She gasped as understanding flooded her consciousness. The patterns on the walls weren't just circuits or decorations. They were a vast neural network, a bridge between human consciousness and the fundamental forces of reality. The quantum circuitry, Dr. Roberts breathed, clearly experiencing the same revelation. It's not just processing data, it's processing thought itself. Correct, Araya confirmed. The Terra-class dreadnoughts were never meant to be weapons of war. They were tools of comprehension, designed to help humanity understand its place in the cosmic order. Through their enhanced perception, Elena and her team watched as historical events unfolded around them. They saw humanity's first experiments with consciousness-linked quantum technology. The discoveries came rapidly: gravity manipulation, matter reconstruction, even limited time dilation. But with each breakthrough, they drew the attention of forces beyond their understanding. The Voidwalkers weren't the only ones watching, Araya explained. There were others, beings that existed in dimensions perpendicular to our own. Some sought to guide us, others to exploit our potential. But all agreed on one thing: humanity was advancing too quickly, learning too much about the fundamental nature of existence. Another impact rocked the ship. Shields at 60%, Lieutenant Chen reported from the Halcyon. The hegemony fleet is moving to surround us. Elena raised her hand, and to her amazement, she could feel the ship's systems responding to her thoughts. Defense screens shifted and power redistributed automatically, guided by her instincts enhanced by centuries of accumulated tactical data. We can't keep this defensive posture forever, she noted. No, Araya agreed. But perhaps it's time to show our pursuers why humanity's greatest strength was never its technology. The AI's form expanded, filling the corridor with a constellation of light points. Each point represented a decision made by humanity's leaders during the Great Collapse. But now Elena could see it wasn't a collapse at all. It was a carefully orchestrated withdrawal, a deliberate choice to step back from powers that could reshape reality. Our ancestors didn't just hide their achievements, Elena realized. They created an elaborate deception to protect the galaxy from itself. The greatest mask ever worn, Araya confirmed. Humanity appeared to decline, to become a minor power among the stars. But in truth, we became the guardians of knowledge too dangerous to be used. Through their enhanced perception, they watched as humanity's leaders systematically dismantled their most advanced technologies. The Terra-class dreadnoughts weren't destroyed. They were hidden throughout the galaxy, each containing a piece of humanity's legacy. Each ship was more than a vessel. It was a library, a museum, and a warning system all in one. The hegemony thinks they're chasing weapons, Elena said, understanding flooding her mind. But this ship is something far more important. It is a choice, Araya replied. The same choice humanity faced centuries ago. The power to reshape reality, or the wisdom to be its steward. The Voidwalker's ship pulsed with dark energy, its presence a reminder of what happened to civilizations that chose poorly. But Elena was beginning to see beyond its terrifying appearance. The ship wasn't just watching. It was waiting, evaluating humanity's response to this test. Captain. Chen's voice cracked through the comm again. The hegemony ships are charging their main weapons. Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it now. Elena looked at her team, seeing the same understanding in their eyes. The patterns on the walls seemed to pulse in sync with their thoughts, the ship responding to their collective realization. Humanity hadn't hidden its power out of fear or weakness. They had chosen a harder path, to be the secret guardians of knowledge that could unmake reality itself. Araya. Elena said, her voice firm with decision. Show us how to remind everyone why humanity chose wisdom over power. The ship's systems surged to life around them, not with weapons or shields, but with something far more profound. They were about to demonstrate why humanity's greatest achievement wasn't in conquering the stars, but in choosing to watch over them instead. The Dreadnought's systems hummed with power as Elena's consciousness merged deeper with its neural network. Through the ship's sensors, she could feel the Arcturus fleet's weapons powering up, taste the exotic particles leaking from the Voidwalker's vessel, and sense the mounting tension in space itself. All hands, she broadcast to both her boarding team and the Halcyon's crew. Prepare for quantum alignment. Quantum alignment, Dr. Roberts asked. his voice tight with concern. "Captain, even modern ships can barely manage basic quantum field manipulation. If we try to align with a vessel this complex, we're not going to fight." Elena interrupted, understanding flowing through her mind as ARIA's knowledge merged with her own. "We're going to show them what humanity understood 7 centuries ago." The ship's internal patterns began to pulse with new energy, responding to the collective consciousness of Elena and her team. Through their enhanced perception, they could see the quantum fields surrounding the vessel shifting, aligning with something far larger than themselves. The hegemony believes power comes from the ability to destroy. Aria's voice resonated through their minds. The Void Walkers know better, but they have forgotten that there are more ways to preserve reality than through fear and isolation. Humanity discovered a third path. Elena felt it then, connections forming not just between her team and the ship, but extending outward. The quantum patterns were reaching across space, touching the minds aboard the hegemony vessels, bridging the gap to the enigmatic Void Walkers. "We're not transmitting weapons data or tactical information," she realized. "We're sharing understanding." Through the quantum network, the Arcturus crews suddenly experienced what humanity had discovered centuries ago. They felt the weight of power that could unmake reality, the temptation to reshape the universe according to their will. But more importantly, they felt the wisdom that had led humanity to step back from that precipice. The Void Walker's ship pulsed with dark energy, but not in threat. Their ancient guardians were experiencing something new, a species using quantum technology not to dominate or destroy, but to share perspective and understanding. "Warning," Shen's voice came through the comm. "Multiple quantum signatures detected. Something's happening to local space-time." The fabric of reality rippled around them as other Terra-class dreadnoughts began emerging from their hidden sanctuaries, not as a show of force, but as nodes in a vast network of consciousness and comprehension. Each vessel added its voice to the symphony of understanding, creating a bridge between all present species. Through this connection, the Arcturus crews saw visions of their own civilization's future, not as conquerors of ancient technology, but as partners in preserving the delicate balance of reality. The Void Walkers witnessed a new way to protect existence, not through fear and isolation, but through shared wisdom and collective responsibility. This is what the Terra-class dreadnoughts were truly designed for, ARI had explained as the quantum network stabilized. Not as weapons of war, but as instruments of enlightenment. Humanity understood that the greatest power isn't the ability to destroy or dominate, but the capacity to help others understand why they shouldn't. The hegemony ship's weapons powered down as their crews grappled with their new understanding. The Void Walker's vessel shifted, its form becoming less threatening as its inhabitants recognized humanity's unique solution to the problem of power. "Captain," Chen reported, "the hegemony fleet is standing down. The Void Walkers, they're transmitting something. It looks like recognition codes, older than any civilization we know of." Elena smiled, feeling the pieces falling into place. "They're not recognition codes," she said. "They're an invitation. The Void Walkers have been waiting for a species to rediscover this path, to prove that advanced civilization doesn't have to end in destruction or isolation." Through their shared consciousness, Elena and her team watched as new possibilities unfolded before them. Humanity had hidden its technological achievements not out of fear or weakness, but as part of a longer journey. They had spent centuries quietly guarding reality's deepest secrets, waiting for the right moment to show the galaxy that true power lies not in the ability to enforce one's will, but in the wisdom to guide others to understanding. The question now, Ariah said as the quantum network continued to expand, touching more minds across space, is whether humanity is ready to emerge from its self-imposed shadows, not as conquerors or weapons makers, but as teachers and guardians of a truth too profound for any single species to bear alone. Elena looked at her team, seeing in their eyes the same certainty she felt in her heart. The age of hiding was coming to an end, but what would replace it would be neither the technological dominance of the past nor the artificial decline of recent centuries. Something new was beginning, something that would reshape the galaxy not through force or fear, but through shared wisdom and collective enlightenment. In the days following the confrontation, the Maelstrom Nebula became a gathering point for representatives from across the galaxy. The revelation of humanity's true role in cosmic history had sent shockwaves through every civilization, challenging centuries of assumptions about power, progress, and purpose. Elena stood on the Dreadnought's observation deck, watching as ships from dozens of species arrived through quantum space. Through the ship's enhanced sensors, she could feel the mix of anxiety, curiosity, and hope emanating from each vessel. The quantum network they had established remained active, though muted, creating a background hum of shared consciousness that connected all who came to witness this moment in history. "The Galactic Council has arrived," Araya announced, its form materializing beside her. "They're requesting permission to board." "Not demanding," Elena asked with a slight smile. "That's progress already." The council members who entered the observation deck were a diverse group, from the crystalline forms of the Centauri Collective to the energy beings of the Helios Concordat. The Arcturus representatives, notably, had sent their scholars rather than their military leaders. The Voidwalkers remained present but distant, their dark ship maintaining a watchful position at the edge of the gathering. "We have reviewed the historical data shared through the quantum network," the Council's chief speaker began, their translated voice carrying both humility and curiosity. "Your species' choice to hide its true capabilities. It challenges everything we believed about technological progress and civilizational development." "That was the point," Elena replied, feeling Araya's approval rippling through the ship's systems. Humanity discovered that the traditional path of technological advancement, the endless pursuit of greater power, was a trap, one that had claimed countless civilizations before us. Through the quantum network, she shared images of humanity's golden age. Not the weapons or the reality-shaping technologies, but the moments of choice. The debates, the philosophical struggles, the ultimate decision to become something unprecedented in cosmic history. A species that chose to step back from power not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. "The Terra-class dreadnoughts," she continued, "were transformed from weapons of war into repositories of knowledge. Each one contains not just technology, but understanding. The quantum neural networks weren't designed to control reality, but to help us comprehend why we shouldn't." "And now?" the Helios representative asked, their energy form flickering with curiosity. "Why reveal this truth after so many centuries of secrecy?" Araya's form expanded, encompassing the entire observation deck in a display of cosmic scale. "Because the galaxy is approaching a threshold," the AI explained. "Multiple civilizations are nearing the level of technological advancement that humanity reached centuries ago. The cycle of discovery, power, and self-destruction was about to begin again." The quantum network pulsed with new information, showing the council members their own civilization's trajectories. Each was approaching the ability to manipulate the fundamental forces of reality, but without the wisdom to understand the consequences. "Humanity didn't hide its power out of shame or fear," Elena said, walking among the gathered representatives. "We became guardians, watching and waiting for the moment when the galaxy was ready for a different path. Not one of technological supremacy or isolation, but of collective wisdom and shared responsibility." The Voidwalkers' presence in the network intensified, sharing their own history for the first time. They had once been like the others, a species that achieved ultimate power. They had survived their own brush with cosmic destruction only by withdrawing entirely, becoming watchers and mourners rather than participants in galactic society. But humanity found a third way. Elena continued, feeling the weight of centuries of preparation behind her words. "We learned to balance knowledge with wisdom, power with restraint. The Terra-class dreadnoughts aren't weapons to be feared or technologies to be coveted. They're teachers, designed to help other species understand what we learned about the true nature of progress." The council members absorbed this revelation in silence, their thoughts rippling through the quantum network. Elena could sense their understanding growing. their perspectives shifting as they grasped the full implications of humanity's choice. "The age of hiding is over," she declared, "but this isn't a return to humanity's golden age. We're offering something new, a partnership in guardianship. The knowledge contained in these ships belongs to no single species. It's a legacy for all sentient life, a guide to advancing without losing our way." The quantum network filled with images of possibility, futures where species evolve not through competition and conquest, but through cooperation and comprehension. The Voidwalker's ship moved closer, its dark energy patterns shifting to harmonize with the network for the first time in eons. "The choice now belongs to all of us," Elena concluded. "We can continue the cycle of power and destruction, or we can write a new chapter in the history of consciousness itself. Humanity didn't step back from power because we were afraid to use it. We stepped back because we discovered something greater, the power of choosing not to dominate, but to understand." As the council members began their deliberations, Elena felt the quantum network pulse with new potential. The Terra-class dreadnoughts had awakened not to wage war or enforce peace, but to offer the galaxy something it had never seen before, a path to advancement that led not up toward supreme power, but outward toward supreme wisdom. The future that stretched before them was uncertain, but for the first time in centuries, it was filled with genuine hope. Humanity had kept its greatest secret not to protect themselves, but to protect this moment, when the galaxy was finally ready to understand that the truest measure of advancement lies not in the height of one's achievements, but in the depth of one's wisdom.